Do you think we're moving towards a stage where they're having treatments that will actually help to reverse disability?
So yes, there was talks on HSCT, which at the moment is the treatment which has the greatest NEDA, or no evidence of disease activity outcomes. And in patients receiving HSCT, there has been evidence of reversibility. And also the Saponimod data also showed that some of their patients did improve. So they went from EDSS score down from 6.5 down to 5, and vice versa. There were also people getting worse, but in some people there seems to be a huge inflammatory component which is making a good contribution, and if you can get rid of that, it allows time for the neurons to recover.
There's been a lot of talk of HSCTs at the conference. Do you think that in the future it might become the default treatment, or is that quite a long way away?
So when you consider treatments purely from a regulatory point of view, what I highlighted in the hangout was that you have to think not only of efficacy, you have to provide a compelling argument about safety, but also cost. And so these three things must be superior to the best available comparator to make it a feasible choice in everybody, in my opinion. Where you have a balance between the best available disease modifying drug versus HSCT, then the more convincing randomized control trial evidences are from the DMTs, in which case you would probably be advisable to go with the DMT as opposed to the HSCT. That's not to discourage people who want to make their own opinion about what treatment they want, and if they would like to have the HSCT, then there is nothing stopping them from getting that done. But if you're looking at it purely from an evidence point of view, equipoise, if there is between the two treatments, you should go with the one with the most randomized control trial evidence.
It actually leads me into one of the questions that the community submitted that they're interested in. How do you make a treatment of a disease if you don't know its cause in the first place?
Well, that's very important, and this has been the issue with MS for a long time. Obviously, everyone thought we'd cracked it with the pathology data, but obviously the problem is where these are post-mortem tissue samples, and so the way we characterize what lesions look like have been called into question. Even recently in the remyelination forum, they questioned whether a shadow plaque, which we've always understood as a partially remyelinated lesion, is in fact partially remyelinated, or is it actually a demyelinated lesion to begin with. So the information on the basic science of MS has always been lacking, and unfortunately we have had a period where we haven't really progressed that end of the understanding of the pathophysiology of MS, and now we are starting to understand a lot more, and maybe we'll be able to tease out the individual variances as well. So for example, the neurofilaments are showing that they can predict the onset of MS almost even a couple of months to a year before the actual development of the first symptoms of MS. There's also some evidence saying that the innate markers like GFAP in the blood, and also chitinase 3-like protein also is more predictive of progression in the disease. Then all the different individual cell markers highlight which predominant subtype is active, whether it's a T cell mediated therapy which is needed in an individual, whether it's a B cell. So I think we are getting there, but we have had a period where this type of work had stalled, and now we're trying to rejuvenate that, because we all of a sudden have treatments which are very targeted, and if you don't understand what the actual mechanism in each individual is, then you may not be selecting the appropriate treatment. So the key focus, as more DMTs become available, is going to be on personalization of the actual treatment options. And that may involve not only where your biomarker profile sits, but also on your genetics as well. You'd have to factor that in.
And what have been your personal highlights from this year's ECTRIMS?
Well, my personal highlights, I think, is the side of seeing so much presented on neurofilaments. I think we are now getting there. Trials are being put together with neurofilaments not only as an exploratory marker now, but as a proper outcome in the secondary outcome. We obviously tried to do a trial where it was the primary outcome, but we've had to go back into the drawing board with that. But definitely, I think the neurofilaments, the amount of information which is now gathered makes it not something for research, but for clinical practice and utilization in clinical trials.
It seems to be a really exciting time with all the new treatments and options and a better understanding of how MS works and the causes of it.
And I'm also waiting for all these treatments to be available for my patients when I get back home as well. So we know already now that ocrelizumab for primary progressive MS is available, and so we could get started on that. The label has been quite well, the guidance has been quite broad in terms of EDSS, and I think we're going to start seeing more of that from individual countries where they give you the opportunity to start these treatments much earlier than you would normally do.
So we've just interviewed Dr. Sharmilee Gnanapavan after her live stream, Google Hangouts live stream with MS patients. It's really, really interesting. She spoke lots about the new DMTs that are available for progressive MS, HSCTs that are coming up. And we'd love you to take a look. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments. If you've got anything you'd like to say or let us know about, please comment below, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more content.